We're here on the third day of the Royal Welsh Show, where we're joined by Andrew on the Natural Resources Wales stand. Andrew, first and foremost, how's the show been going for you?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, the show's been really good, really busy, and we've had a lot of people coming in talking about lots of different parts of NRW's business. So it's been a really good show, and not the same heat as we had last year. So it's been a pleasure.
Sometimes it's nice to get a kind of balance. Sometimes rain's not too bad, and you also mentioned you've got the stand here. People have been coming in, can't really miss it. What kind of conversations, what are you showing off in the stand? What kind of conversations have you been having?
Well, from a forestry perspective, I think sort of things we're talking about, things that people are interested in, certainly for the land that was in our care, it's the climate change, it's the impact of climate change, and what are we doing? So that's where it's really interesting how people have sort of really taken this to heart now. So we're trying to explain sort of some of the projects that we get in, trying to change the species on the estate, trying to adapt our estates for wildfire. Wildfire is a big issue at the moment in Wales, as it is in other parts of Europe. We've had a significant number of wildfires this year, and so it's a lot of people are interested in the impact of those type of projects around their own land as well. So whilst it's a national show, we get a lot of local interest. What's going on in my back garden? What are you doing on the estate in my back garden?
So what are you doing then? I'll ask you the question, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's funny. Climate change, I sort of say that climate change now, I read reports in 1989 talking about woodland adaptation, but it's only in the last few years we're really talking meaningful about this. So for NRW, what we're doing is we're looking to diversify our species. That's one of the things. We're looking to change our silvicultural practices. And also to do that, we're talking about upskilling our staff to bring them along with us and give people that confidence to go ahead and try and change and use some of the new novel species that we've been talking around for the last 5 years.
So ideally then, what would woodlands of the future look like for NRW?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and one that with our new corporate plan that's come out, we're actually mulling that one over as well. What is a measure of success in 2030? What does our woodlands look like? And we're not going to have one single woodland that looks like sort of a uniform thing. We're going to have certain woodlands that are still going to be managed for production. They're still going to be fairly similar to what we've got now, but a lot of our woodlands will be continuous cover forestry in some areas, a lot more restoration of our ancient woodland sites, and a lot more change of species, as well as planting more sort of fire breaks that are quite important as well. So. And I'm looking for the teams within NRW just to bite the bullet and go, actually, I'm going to put that species. I'm not sure what it's going to do in my patch, but it's worth taking a punt. I won't put all my eggs in one basket, but I'll do a bit of that.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So kind of in terms of species you're seeing people are trying with, what are you seeing?
Well, I think, and that's the thing, I think people have got to do that. I think we've got to go back to basics. We've got to understand what's the soil like, what's the future weather conditions going to be like. So some of those things we should be looking at different furs that we should be putting in, and also just the different mixtures as well. So we're not looking at the sort of the single uniform crops as well. This will take a lot more management as well.
Yeah, a lot more management, and that's coming from NRW, coming from the public estate. Have to look over the estate.
It is, yeah. It's all on the public forest estate, and because NRW, as the largest land manager in Wales, we manage 7% of Wales. You can imagine the variations of the woodlands we get, and the different community interactions we have in those woodlands. So we have to take on board those community considerations when making your decisions.
And I guess in many ways, kind of looking kind of tree planting in general in Wales, it was a bit of a success story last year insofar as the rates doubled compared to the year before. I mean, that must be quite pleasing and quite encouraging, I suppose.
It is encouraging. It's a small step. We've got a long way to go with planting. On the estate itself, we do some new planting, but our planting is mostly to do with replacement for trees lost for projects such as peatland restoration or wind farm projects as well.
And I guess then, maybe just kind of lastly, obviously it's more of an agricultural show, as you say, a lot of farmers coming in, and it's no secret there's been a bit of, I guess, tension, for want of a better word, between farmers and tree planting. How are you finding that, and what kind of conversations are you having to hopefully overcome that?
Yeah, I think that Well, I suppose you could argue there's always been a conflict between tree planting and agriculture. But you're right, it is an agricultural show, and I think both the forestry and agricultural sectors themselves, I think we need to work out better ways of talking to each other. It shouldn't be forestry and agriculture separately. We should be talking about land use and what can each party benefit from those areas.
Yeah, no, I think conversations are always going to help. So, listen, thank you very much, Andrew. Thanks for speaking to us, and I hope the rest of the show goes well.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you.